Mr. Chris Cobb. He is the COO and CEO of the University of London. So it's a great pleasure to invite him. A round of applause for Mr. Chris Cobb, please, from London.
Thank you, ministers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here today. I'm going to be speaking in the higher education section in a moment, but I'll give you a brief overview of what I'll be saying, which is that education is one of the wonders of the world, that we all benefit from education. It benefits society, it benefits the individual, and we must do everything we can to further it. We can only further it really by building on what's gone before, and I think education is much more evolutionary than revolutionary. There are innovations all the time, and particularly technology brings innovation. But also it's iteration and it's building on what's gone before. The University of London has been providing education for almost 180 years. It's one of the oldest universities in the UK after Oxford and Cambridge. But it was one of the first universities to start innovating. Previously, Oxford and Cambridge only taught men, and they only taught theology and law. It was the University of London that started breaking that mold. We were the first to teach women. We were the first to broaden the curriculum. And we've been innovating ever since. One of the greatest innovations that we introduced was the fact that we didn't have students that couldn't come to London didn't need to come to London. That we brought education to institutions around the world by partnering with them in their own country. The first country we partnered with was in the Seychelles. The exam scripts took 2 months to leave London and arrive in the Seychelles. The exam scripts were then shipped back to the UK, another 2 months, and then the marks were then sent back to the Seychelles. 6 months between the exam being set and the marks being awarded. Fortunately today, that's within a matter of weeks. The exams are still set in London. They're sat in country, in Delhi, around the world. They are marked back in London and the exam marks sent back to the individuals. We partner with institutions all around the world. We have over 140 institutions that we partner with. They teach students in country. The students do not leave the country. This isn't distance learning in the way in which people often think of distance learning. The education is brought to the institutions. The virtual learning environment is provided for the institution, and students are taught very much like they are in a typical university. Most universities today, particularly those in the West, are taught in what's known as a hybrid fashion. The in-class support is actually supported in a virtual way as well. There's a virtual learning environment. Often the large lectures no longer exist. It's in a flipped classroom scenario where the students watch the lecture before going into their tutor room, and then the engagement with the tutor is about a conversation about the areas which they struggle with and didn't understand. Exactly the same thing happens with the programs of the University of London. The innovation continues. The classroom experience is enhanced by the virtual learning that's provided out of the University of London's courses. We have hundreds of courses, and those innovations are continuing. Just recently, we've innovated further. We've now got 2 additional master's programs which the Central University has provided. Previously, the courses have been provided by our member institutions like the London School of Economics, University College London, King's College London, Royal Holloway, Queen Mary, some of the biggest brands in the UK. But more recently, we've also been providing courses centrally. And those courses are a global MBA, which is partnering with Queen Mary University, as well as a Master's in Professional Accounting, which is accredited by the ACCA, and the pedagogy is sourced from University College London. Those 2 new programs are a start of a whole range of innovations which will show that the subjects could actually be modularized and disaggregated into CPD options, certificated options, and ways in which students can engage with pedagogy in bite-sized chunks that are more relevant to for them today. It works well with employers, it gets them into jobs, and it's a world-recognized brand around the world. We're also partnering with institutions which are well established in their own right. Institutions like University Pacifico in Lima, where they have a very well-established brand in Peru, but their degrees aren't very well recognized around the world. Lima and Peru are areas which are attracting a huge amount of industry and international business, and they need graduates that are able to engage with those international businesses. So rather than have the brains leave the country, they would rather their students have qualifications which are recognized by international businesses. And the University of Pacifico and other universities are now offering their degrees in parallel with the University of London degree, keeping the students in country, supporting the economy of Peru, and developing the society in Peru. So that's the essence of what I'll be talking about later on. The University of London's been around a long, long time. It is still innovating. It is still generating new ideas. And we're delighted to be here in India, and we'd love to work more with institutions in India, keeping students in India, working for India. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cobb, for sharing your views and the things University of London is doing.